Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you enjoy my content, please like, share, and subscribe. If you find it really helpful, feel free to leave a comment below. Your support gives me the motivation to keep creating. Today's episode is designed for English learners at the A2 to B1 level. It's perfect for practicing listening and reading comprehension. You can also use it for shadowing practice. Just follow along and read out loud with the audio. Today's story is about Alex. Let's get started.
My day. Hi, my name is Alex. Today, I want to tell you about my typical day. I think my daily routine is simple, but it helps me stay healthy and organized. I usually wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I feel a bit tired, but I try to get up right away. I stretch my arms and legs and take a deep breath. Then I go to the bathroom to wash my face and brush my teeth. The cold water helps me wake up. After that, I go to the kitchen and make breakfast. I usually eat 2 eggs, a piece of toast, and drink a cup of tea. I don't like coffee very much, so I prefer tea. While I eat, I sometimes listen to music or a podcast. I really enjoy learning English in the morning. At 8 o'clock, I get dressed and prepare to go to work. I work in an office and it is not very far from my home. I usually walk there. The walk takes about 15 minutes and I like this time because I can think and enjoy the fresh air. I start work at 8:30. In the morning, I check my email and write reports. Sometimes I have meetings with my team. We talk about our projects and help each other with problems. Everyone is friendly, so I like working with them. At 12 o'clock, I take a lunch break. I usually bring lunch from home. I often eat rice with vegetables and some chicken. After lunch, I like to take a short walk outside or just relax for a few minutes. In the afternoon, I continue working until 5:30 p.m. Sometimes I feel a little tired, but I try to stay focused. I drink some water or stretch my body to feel better. At the end of the day, I check my to-do list and plan for tomorrow. When I finish work, I walk home. I like to listen to music or an English podcast while I walk. It helps me relax and also improves my listening skills. In the evening, I cook dinner. I like cooking because it helps me forget about work. I usually make something simple like noodles with vegetables or fish with rice. After dinner, I wash the dishes and clean the kitchen. At around 8 o'clock, I study English for 30 minutes. I use an app or watch videos on YouTube. I also write a few sentences in my notebook. This is my favorite part of the day because I enjoy learning new things. Before bed, I take a shower and change into my pajamas. I try to go to bed at 10:30. Before I sleep, I read a book or listen to soft music. This helps me relax and sleep well. That's my day. It may be simple, but I think it's a good balance of work, rest, and learning. Thanks for listening. Dining out with friends. Hi, my name is Alex. Today, I want to tell you about a fun evening I had at a restaurant with my friends. It was a simple night, but it made me really happy. Last Friday after work, my friend Lisa sent me a message. She asked, "Do you want to have dinner together tonight?" I said, "Sure, that sounds great." We decided to meet at a restaurant near the city center at 6:30 p.m. After I got home, I took a quick shower and changed my clothes. I wore jeans and a clean shirt. Then I walked to the restaurant. It took me about 20 minutes. The weather was nice and cool. When I arrived, Lisa and 2 other friends were already there. We smiled and gave each other a hug. The restaurant was cozy and not too noisy. We sat at a table near the window. The waiter gave us menus, and we looked at all the food choices. I ordered grilled chicken with vegetables. Lisa chose a pasta dish, and the others got pizza and salad. We also ordered drinks. I had a glass of orange juice because I don't drink alcohol. The food came quickly and it looked delicious. While we ate, we talked about many things, our jobs, our families, and our weekend plans. We also shared some jokes and laughed a lot. It felt so good to relax and speak freely with good friends. After dinner, we were all full, but we still wanted dessert. We ordered 2 slices of chocolate cake and shared them. The cake was rich and sweet, perfect after a good meal. We stayed at the restaurant for about 2 hours. Nobody looked at their phone too much. We just enjoyed talking and being together. It reminded me how important it is to spend time with people you care about. When it was time to go, we paid the bill and said goodbye. I walked home again and listened to music on the way. I felt peaceful and happy. That night, before going to bed, I wrote in my journal about the evening. I wrote, "I'm thankful for my friends and for simple nights like this." It was a perfect way to end the week. That's my story about dining out with friends. It wasn't anything fancy, but it meant a lot to me. Thank you for listening. Helping a stranger on my way home. Hi, my name is Alex, and today I want to tell you a story that happened to me last week. It's about something simple, but it made me feel really good. I was on my way home from work, and I helped a stranger. I didn't expect it, but it turned out to be a special moment. It was Thursday, and I finished work at around 6 p.m. I was feeling a little tired because I had a long day at the office. I work as a graphic designer, and I had many projects to finish. After shutting down my computer and saying goodbye to my coworkers, I left the office. The weather was nice, not too hot, not too cold. I decided to walk home instead of taking the bus. My home is about 30 minutes away by foot, so it's a good walk. I usually enjoy this time because I can listen to music or just think quietly. As I was walking down a quiet street, I saw an old woman standing near a small park. She looked a little confused. She kept looking around and checking her phone. She didn't seem to know where she was going. I slowed down and looked at her again. She seemed worried. I walked over to her and said, "Excuse me, are you okay? Do you need help?" She looked up at me with a smile, but also with tired eyes. "Yes," she said. "I'm trying to find the train station, but I think I'm lost. My phone's battery just died and I don't know the way." I smiled back and said, "Don't worry. I know where the station is. It's not far from here. I can walk with you if you like." She seemed very happy. "Thank you so much," she said. "That's very kind of you. I'm visiting my sister today and I didn't expect to get lost." So we started walking together. Her name was Mary. She was visiting from a small town about 2 hours away. She told me she wasn't used to big cities and all the busy streets. She was very friendly and asked me about my job and my life in the city. I told her that I work in an office and that I enjoy walking home when the weather is nice. We talked about our families, the city, and even favorite foods. It felt like we had known each other for a long time. After about 10 minutes, we arrived at the train station. Mary smiled and said, "Thank you, Alex. You're a very kind young man. I really appreciate your help." I said, "You're welcome, Mary. I'm glad I could help. I hope you have a nice visit with your sister." She waved goodbye and I watched her walk into the station. I felt a warm feeling inside. Helping her didn't take much time, but it made both of us feel good. As I walked the rest of the way home, I thought about how small actions can make a big difference. Sometimes we are so busy with our own lives that we don't notice people who need help. But when we take the time to care, it can change someone's whole day. When I got home, I told my roommate about it. He smiled and said, "That's a great thing you did, Alex." I also wrote about it in my journal. I like to write down moments that matter to me. I wrote, "Today I helped someone who needed me." It reminded me that kindness is free, but it's powerful. This experience taught me something important. We don't need to be rich or famous to make the world better. We just need to be kind. Even one kind action can bring light into someone's day. So next time you see someone who looks lost or needs help, take a moment to ask, "Are you okay?" You might make a new friend or at least make someone smile. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope it inspires you to help others too. A day of grocery shopping and cooking. Hi, my name is Alex. Today, I want to tell you about one of my favorite things to do, going to the market to buy food and cooking a nice meal at home. I love food and I enjoy cooking when I have time. It helps me relax and feel happy. This story is about last Saturday. I didn't have to work, so I had the whole day to myself. I woke up around 8 o'clock in the morning. The sun was shining and the weather was warm but not too hot. It was the perfect day to go shopping for fresh ingredients and make a delicious lunch. After washing my face and brushing my teeth, I had a light breakfast, just some toast and a cup of tea. Then I took my shopping bag and walked to the local market. The market is not far from my apartment. It's about a 15-minute walk. I like walking there because I can enjoy the fresh air and see what's going on in the neighborhood. When I arrived at the market, it was already busy. There were many people, old ladies buying vegetables, parents with kids, and young people like me. The market had many stalls. Some sold fruits and vegetables, some had meat and seafood, and others had bread, eggs, or spices. The smell of fresh food was everywhere. First, I stopped at the fruit stand. I bought some bananas, 2 apples, and a mango. They looked fresh and colorful. I like eating fruit after meals, especially mango. It's sweet and juicy. Then I walked over to the vegetable stall. I picked up some carrots, tomatoes, and a green bell pepper. I also got some garlic and onions because they make everything taste better. The seller was very friendly. He smiled and said, "Good choice. Fresh from the farm today." That made me feel good. After that, I went to the seafood stall. I saw some fresh shrimp and salmon. I decided to buy half a kilo of shrimp. I love cooking shrimp because it's easy and fast. The man cleaned the shrimp for me and packed them in a bag with ice. I also bought a few eggs and a small bottle of olive oil. Then I paid for everything and walked back home with my bag full of good food. When I got home, I washed all the vegetables and cleaned the shrimp again. I decided to make garlic butter shrimp with rice and a side of salad. I also wanted to make a mango smoothie to drink. First, I cooked the rice. I rinsed it with water and put it in the rice cooker. While the rice was cooking, I prepared the shrimp. I chopped garlic, melted some butter in a pan, and added the garlic. The smell was amazing. Then I added the shrimp and cooked them until they turned pink. I added a little salt, pepper, and a squeeze of lemon juice. Next, I made a simple salad with lettuce, tomatoes, and carrots. I added some olive oil and lemon juice as dressing. It was fresh and colorful. For the smoothie, I cut the mango into small pieces and put them in the blender with some milk and a little honey. I turned on the blender, and in just a minute, the smoothie was ready. It looked smooth and creamy. By the time the rice was done, everything was ready. I put the food on a plate, garlic butter shrimp on rice, a side of salad, and the mango smoothie in a glass. It looked like a restaurant meal. I sat down at the table and took a bite of the shrimp. It was delicious. The garlic and butter gave it so much flavor. The salad was light and fresh. The smoothie was cold and sweet, perfect for a warm day. After eating, I cleaned up the kitchen and washed the dishes. I felt very happy. Cooking my own food made me feel proud and relaxed. It's not just about eating. It's about the process of choosing, preparing, and enjoying. Later that day, I called my friend and told them about the meal. They said, "Wow, Alex, you're a great cook." That made me smile. I think cooking is a good skill to have. It helps you take care of yourself, and it can also be fun. Sometimes I try new recipes, and other times I just make simple food that I know I like. That's my story about going to the market and cooking a meal at home. It was a normal day, but it made me feel good. I hope you enjoyed listening. Maybe it will inspire you to cook something delicious too. Thank you for listening. Preparing for a hiking trip. Hello, my name is Alex. Today I want to tell you about how I planned a hiking trip and got ready for it. Hiking is one of my favorite outdoor activities. I love being in nature, breathing fresh air, and walking through forests and mountains. It helps me relax and clear my mind. This story is about how I prepared for a weekend hike with my friends. It all started 2 weeks ago. I was sitting at home on a Sunday afternoon, feeling a little bored. I had been working a lot and spending too much time in front of my computer. I needed a break. So I texted my 2 good friends, Sarah and Jake. "Hey," I wrote, "do you want to go hiking next weekend?" They both replied quickly. Sarah said, "Yes." "I need some nature." Jake said, "Count me in." We decided to plan a short hiking trip on Saturday. We didn't want anything too hard, just a nice walk in the forest with a good view at the top. We chose a hiking trail about 1 hour away from the city by car. The trail is in a national park, and it's known for its beautiful lake and small waterfall. Once we picked the place, I started making a checklist. I like to be prepared, especially when I go into nature. The first thing on my list was clothes. I needed comfortable hiking pants, a light t-shirt, and a jacket. The weather forecast said it might rain, so I also packed a raincoat. Good shoes are important too, so I made sure to clean my hiking boots and check the laces. Next, I thought about food and water. I packed 2 bottles of water and some snacks. Trail mix, nuts, a sandwich, and a banana. I also added a small chocolate bar for energy. I like to have something sweet at the top of the mountain. Then I packed other important things: sunscreen, a hat, sunglasses, and bug spray. I also brought a small first aid kit just in case someone gets a small cut or blister. My backpack was starting to get full, but everything fit well. I also made sure to bring my phone, a power bank, and a map of the trail. Even though we have phones, I think it's always good to have a paper map, just in case there's no signal. The night before the hike, I set everything out on the table and checked my list again. I didn't want to forget anything. I also filled my water bottles and made a fresh sandwich to pack in the morning. I went to bed early so I could wake up full of energy. The next morning, I woke up at 6:30 a.m., the sun was rising, and it looked like a perfect day. I took a quick shower, got dressed in my hiking clothes, and had a simple breakfast, just some toast and yogurt. Sarah and Jake arrived at my place around 7:15. We loaded our backpacks into Jake's car and started the drive to the park. On the way, we listened to music and talked about how nice it would be to spend the day in nature. When we arrived, the parking lot was not too crowded. We put on our backpacks, did a little stretching, and took a photo before starting the hike. The trail was peaceful, and we could hear birds singing and leaves moving in the wind. I'll tell you more about the hike another time, but today's story was about the preparation. I believe that preparing well makes any trip more enjoyable and safe. You don't need to bring a lot, but you should bring the right things. Planning also makes me feel excited. When I pack my bag and check the weather, I start to imagine the trees, the view from the top, and the fresh air. So that's my story about planning a hiking trip. If you ever want to try hiking, I really recommend it. Just make a list, pack your bag, and enjoy the beauty of nature. Thanks for listening. Fun moments and memories from a hiking trip. Hi, my name is Alex. Today I want to tell you about my hiking trip, what happened during the hike, and the funny and unforgettable memories we made along the way. Last time, I talked about how I planned the trip with my friends Sarah and Jake. We packed everything we needed, checked the weather, and drove to a beautiful national park. Now let me tell you what happened during the hike itself. We started walking at around 8:30 in the morning. The trail was quiet and peaceful. Birds were singing in the trees and the air was fresh. We walked slowly at first, enjoying the nature around us. The path was a little rocky, but not too difficult. After about 30 minutes, we came to a small wooden bridge over a stream. The water was clear and cold. Jake wanted to take a photo, but when he stepped on a rock to get a better view, he slipped and almost fell into the water. Luckily, he didn't get wet, but we all laughed so hard. Even Jake laughed at himself. We took some funny pictures and called it the almost swimming moment. We continued walking uphill. After a while, we started to feel tired and a bit hungry. We found a big rock in the shade and decided to take a short break. I took out my sandwich and water, and Sarah shared her trail mix with us. The food tasted amazing, maybe because we were eating in the middle of nature. While we were sitting there, a squirrel came close to us. It was so cute and brave. It didn't run away. Instead, it came closer and tried to grab a piece of Jake's granola bar. We laughed again and gave the squirrel a tiny piece of nut. It was a funny and sweet moment. After resting, we kept hiking. The trail got a little steeper and we had to climb over some tree roots. But we helped each other and made jokes to keep the mood light. At one point, Sarah started singing a song loudly and we all joined in. We weren't good singers, but it made the hike feel more fun and relaxed. Finally, after about 2.5 hours, we reached the top of the trail. There was a small lookout area with a wooden bench. From there, we could see a big lake and the forest below. The view was beautiful. The sun was shining, and a soft wind was blowing. We all sat quietly for a few minutes just looking at the view. It was peaceful and special. We took some group photos at the top and made funny poses. One photo had all of us jumping in the air. It looked so cool. I knew I would keep these photos forever. After enjoying the top for a while, we started walking back down. Going downhill was easier, but we were a bit tired. On the way, we saw a group of kids hiking with their teacher. They said hello to us and we waved back. One little boy asked Jake, "Are you a mountain explorer?" Jake smiled and said, "Yes, and I'm looking for treasure." The kids laughed, and so did we. We made it back to the parking lot in the afternoon. Our legs were tired, but we were all smiling. We sat on a bench, took off our backpacks, and drank the last of our water. Then we drove to a small cafe near the park and had some ice cream. It felt like a reward after a great hike. That night, when I got home, I took a hot shower and looked at the pictures we took. I felt so happy and relaxed. The day was full of small, fun moments. Almost falling in the stream, the squirrel, the singing, the beautiful view. These memories stayed with me for a long time. Now, whenever I feel stressed, I think about that hike. It reminds me that simple things, like walking in nature with friends, can bring the most joy. So, if you ever get the chance, I hope you can go on a hike too. You don't need to go far. Just take some friends, prepare well, and enjoy the journey. Who knows? Maybe you'll also have funny moments and make unforgettable memories. Thanks for listening to my story. Hi, my name is Alex. Today, I want to tell you about how I usually spend my weekends. I work hard during the week, so when the weekend comes, I like to relax and do things I enjoy. On Saturday morning, I usually wake up around 8 a.m. I don't set an alarm because I like to sleep a little longer than on weekdays. After I wake up, I take a shower and make a simple breakfast. I often eat toast with eggs and drink a cup of coffee. After breakfast, I sometimes go to the park near my home. I like to walk around the lake and listen to music or a podcast. It helps me feel calm and refreshed. On some weekends, I also meet my friend Daniel there. We talk, laugh, and enjoy the morning sunshine. Around noon, I go to the market or the supermarket to buy some groceries. I usually buy vegetables, fruit, meat, and snacks for the week. I like to cook, so I always look for fresh ingredients. After shopping, I return home and prepare lunch. Sometimes I cook noodles or rice with vegetables and chicken. It's healthy and tasty. In the afternoon, I often spend some time reading. I'm reading an English book now to improve my language skills. I also like watching movies or TV shows in English. It helps me learn new words and understand how native speakers talk. I keep a notebook to write down new expressions. Later in the day, I sometimes meet friends for coffee or dinner. We go to a small restaurant or a cafe. We talk about our week, tell stories, and enjoy good food. I love these moments. They make me feel connected and happy. On Sunday, my day is a bit slower. I wake up a little later, maybe around 9 a.m. After breakfast, I often clean my room and do the laundry. I like keeping my home clean and comfortable. After that, I may play the piano or listen to music. Music helps me relax and think. In the afternoon, I sometimes go for a bike ride if the weather is nice. I enjoy being outside and seeing the trees and the sky. Riding my bike is fun and good for my health. Sometimes I ride to a nearby village and take photos of nature. Sunday evening is my time to get ready for the new week. I check my schedule, write a to-do list, and plan my meals. I also spend 30 minutes learning English. I use shadowing practice. I listen to a recording and try to speak along with it. It helps me improve my pronunciation and speaking rhythm. After that, I relax on the sofa, maybe watch a short video, and then go to bed around 10 p.m. That's how I usually spend my weekends. I try to balance rest, fun, and learning. It helps me feel ready for the week ahead. Thanks for listening to my story. Hi, my name is Alex. Today, I want to tell you about my neighbor. I live in a quiet apartment building in a small city, and I have lived here for about 5 years. Over this time, I have gotten to know many of the people who live near me, but the neighbor I know best is Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson is an older man. He is about 70 years old, with white hair and a kind smile. He lives in the apartment right next to mine. I see him almost every day, and we often talk in the hallway or outside the building. He always says hello and asks how I'm doing. He is friendly and always has time to talk. Sometimes when I come home from work, he is sitting outside enjoying the sun. I stop and chat with him for a few minutes. He tells me stories from when he was younger or talks about his garden. Yes, Mr. Thompson has a small garden on his balcony. He grows tomatoes, herbs, and even some flowers. He says it keeps him busy and happy. One time, he gave me some fresh basil from his garden. I use it to make pasta, and it tasted great. We also help each other. One day, his kitchen light stopped working, and he didn't know how to fix it. I went over to his apartment and helped him change the light bulb. Another time, he helped me when I locked myself out of my apartment. He let me use his phone to call the building manager. On weekends, Mr. Thompson sometimes bakes cookies. He knocks on my door and gives me a small plate. His cookies are always delicious. He likes to bake because it reminds him of his late wife. She loved to bake, and now he continues the tradition. Sometimes we go to the local park together. We sit on a bench and watch the people go by. He tells me about his family and shows me photos of his grandchildren. He's very proud of them. I feel lucky to have a neighbor like Mr. Thompson. He is kind, respectful, and fun to talk to. In a world where people are often busy and don't talk to their neighbors, it's nice to have someone you can trust and enjoy spending time with. Another neighbor I often see is a young woman named Lisa. She lives 2 floors above me and has a small dog. Sometimes when I take the stairs, I meet her walking her dog. We say hello, and she always has a smile on her face. Her dog is very friendly and likes to be petted. Lisa works as a nurse, and she is very busy. But even though she works a lot, she always takes time to care for her dog and be polite to the people around her. I respect that a lot. We sometimes talk about our jobs and how our days are going. There's also a family with 2 kids living across the hall. The children sometimes make noise, but they are sweet and polite. I hear them laughing and playing, and it brings a warm feeling to the building. I sometimes say hello to their parents when we meet in the hallway. They seem like a happy family. Living in this building feels nice because of the people. Good neighbors make a big difference. Even small things like saying hello, sharing food, or helping each other can make life better. So that's the story of my neighbors. I feel thankful to live in a place where people are kind and caring. It makes my home feel more like a community and less like just a place to sleep. Thanks for listening to my story about my neighbors.